Hey there, everybody. It's me. You either know me as Mav, you might know me as Spencer, but either way, if you're here, you know that Thursday nights are the night for Foil Variant, where me and Andrew Rodriguez, we get together and we give you intellectually honest comic book talk, right? Unfortunately, or yeah, I'd say unfortunately, because we do miss you guys. This week, Thursday happens to line up right with not happens to, this is every year. I don't know why I framed it like that. But thanks, we have finally come to the Thanksgiving holiday. And as Andrew and I both want to, go celebrate with our friends, family, have some food, watch some football, just hang out, take a little breather, we decided we were going to, take it easy this week. Skip on a new foil variant this week. It's a little too hard to rush everything and get it together. However, we also know that we don't want to leave you hanging for 2 weeks straight because we remember that last week we had to take a break too because Andrew was busy. So, in service of keeping this all going, of letting you guys know, we're still here for you, we still love you, we still want to talk to you, we decided that tonight we are going to upload, live stream premiere. I think I've got this all set up right. Let's hope, the Mav boomerisms don't strike again. But we are going to play for you the recorded or the live interview I did with Andrew last night over on Bounding Into Comics about Blue Shift, his brand new character for the Rippaverse, which is debuting in Rippazine number 5, which you can buy right now. I'm sure you've heard both of us bleat on about that new release to death. But yeah, we thought it was a particularly good situation. It lasts for about, 2 hours, about a normal foil variant. Within that time span, we'd get into Blue Shift, what's going on with the Rippaverse, and I mean, you guys know us. There's a bunch of comic book tangents and just nonsense in there, right? Either way, I hope you guys have fun. For my American friends, I hope you guys are having a great Thanksgiving. For my international friends, I'll see you very, very soon. Don't worry, Saturday, Good Map Ugly is still on. And yeah, so let's just jump into it and let's hope this works, right? Take it easy, everyone. And for me, Andrew, we love you. Can't wait to see you next week. And let's see. I say a couple words, and let's hope nobody can hear me over there. Although I'm probably pretty sure they can. Yep, they definitely can. I just pulled it up over here on YouTube. All right. So that's a little weird, but that is the growing pains of StreamYard. Everybody, Bounding Into Comics readers, Rippaverse fans, everybody else who might be just stumbling upon this stream. How are you doing out there? It is Wednesday night. I'm Spencer Bakuli, the editor-in-chief of Bounding Into Comics, and I am here with the very first episode, or very first entry, I guess you could say, into a new series we're doing over here at Bounding Into Comics. Obviously, I'm sure a couple of you, if you are a Bounding Into Comics reader, viewer, fan, you probably already saw the streaming announcement I made last week where we are switching up our streaming schedule. We've got Weekly Weeb News with Nerdigans on Mondays. We've got video game streaming with me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we have my, talk to me, open talk show, Good Map Ugly on Saturdays. But in addition to just switching up all of that streaming stuff, we also, sitting down among the team and talking about what do we want to do in the coming year, getting ready for 2026. A regular idea that came up was, why don't we start talking to more, comic book creators, whether indie, professional, however, and not just creators, but, notable people within the industry. So, editors or, creative managers like we might be talking to tonight. So, we know that the ecosystem, the media ecosystem we exist in right now is really, really bad, especially when it comes to entertainment. We could sit here and complain all day, and don't worry, we will always highlight to you guys what is bad. But I think it's also, it does us some good, the people, the viewers, the fans out there, to remember that, yeah, lots of people are crapping over video games, comic books, anime, all that kind of stuff. But there's a reason we love this stuff. And there's still people who do produce good stuff that we can enjoy, that we can all, or hopefully enjoy, of course. As always, everything is subjective. You have your own taste. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. It's called Ask Me Anything at Bounding Into Comics. Very, very simple name. You saw earlier today, we kicked it off with our guest tonight will be Wow, this is like the worst intro. I didn't really have an intro set up for this part. But anyway, this whole new endeavor is basically AMA at Bounding into Comics, a whole new interview series where I'll be talking to creators, both indie, both pro, editors, all that fun stuff. Anybody who's notable in the world of comics, I will be talking to them, opening up conversations for you guys, and foster dialogues, calm everybody's nerves because it's just too stupid out there, right? So, in honor of this new series, I'm sure nobody here is surprised to know that I will be. You know what? I see you, Andrew. All right, you just ruined my intro being in the chat down there. But yes, as you guys can, I'm sure already know from either reading the title of the stream, from seeing the thumbnail of the stream, or from hearing my goofy ass right now, our first and inaugural guest of this new series is Andrew Rodriguez, the creative manager over at the Rippaverse, and also the creator of its newest hero, Blue Shift. Obviously, quick disclaimer here at the top. I'm sure this doesn't surprise anybody, but you know what? I got into this game because people like Zoe Quinn were pissing me off. So at the very least, I owe it to you guys to let you know that aside from knowing Andrew professionally through Bounding into Comics and the Rippaverse, Andrew was also a personal friend of mine and a co-host, and my co-host on Foil Variant, which is a comic book centric podcast that he and I host every Thursday night. Come check it out if you want. But yeah, no, behind the scenes deals or anything like that. Transparency is key. But aside from all that, guys, you've probably had enough of my rambling. Let's get to the main event of the night. I'd like to welcome the man himself, Andrew Rodriguez. Andrew,
hey, what's going on, buddy?
Tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty well, man. It's been a good day. It's been a good week, short week, thankfully. Thank God. Got holidays. There's a lot to be thankful for.
Tomorrow is a holiday, right? Because it's on Thursday, and I'm used to holidays like they'll disrupt my trash service or the comic book day. But they all happen before the holiday, so like it's just going to be a normal week next week. Or
mail service gets interrupted, and so that we can't get our comics in that we ordered off a whatever comic website on time.
You know what? I'm still sad that Things from Another World closed. Like I will never ever be over that. Like that was absolutely the best comic book delivery website.
It really was fantastic.
But I also know, speaking of comic book websites, I know. I just got you to use it, the site League of Comic Geeks, right?
Yeah.
You might have noticed that on League of Comic Geeks, I don't have it on hand, unfortunately, and I know you guys don't want me to sit here while I scroll to find it. There is a certain listing on the releases for the week, which would be Ripazine number 5. It's pretty fucking cool, guys. League of Comic Geeks is so, locked into everything that's releasing in the world of comics that even our boys over at the boys and gals, shout out to the Saskas, they get their stuff listed up there on League of Comic Geeks. It's really, really, really cool. Have you seen that?
I have actually. So last week and weekend, I spent a good handful of hours pouring through the website because the way I look at it is comic books are already a niche entertainment medium, right? And so there's already few enough of us to begin with, and few enough good, healthy spaces to discuss comic books. And let me tell you, social media ain't one of them. So in the idea, in the vein of wanting to just talk comics with actual comic fans, it makes sense for me, both as a fan who just enjoys talking about the stuff, as well as a creator, right? You want to go where the fans of the thing you're creating are, right? Like the internet can only be so useful. And so it gets to a certain point where you do have to go to where those existing, that built-in audience is, right? That's why it's important to go to conventions, right? It's why it's important to go to, message boards. I'm dating myself. It's important to go to websites like League of Comic Geeks, right? That have options to discuss in, comments or forums and whatnot. That's really important. So I've been trying to do that because ultimately, I want the Rippaverse to grow outside of just like a pocket of the internet, right? Because that's fantastic. And we have so many incredible fans that have supported us already. But as any business wants to do, we want to continue to grow. We want to bring in new people. And the first people we should be trying to bring in should be existing comic book fans. Like we have a lot of first-time comic fans that are fans of the Rippaverse. We also have
That's great. Yeah.
a lot of longtime comic book fans that are fans of the Rippaverse, but a lot of those are also people who fell off buying DC and Marvel and Image and things like that. There might be like one or two books here and there that they're
Oh
still
yeah.
grabbing, right? Because there's still some genuinely good stuff.
And it's also like, it's really surprising to me. I've talked to you about this a little bit, but over the past couple months going to my local comic book shop, I've noticed that my crowd is not what we would all typically think. Like I have a lot of younger kids like coming in for stuff. And then I also have a lot of older fans, right? But those older fans are the ones who like in line, we're always talking like, yeah, I'm grabbing this one or like this book, one or two books, but nothing's really hitting the same way anymore. Or maybe they stop by because, you know, Joe Mads did a cover and they're like, well, I remember Mads from when comics were good. I want to pick that up.
Yeah. So like with people all with there being that built-in audience, because here's the thing. Indie creators are already kind of up against it in a sense, because discoverability is very difficult. When you're competing, at least for lack of a better term, with, you know, names that have been around for almost a century in some cases, you do ultimately have to just be bringing something that people deem worth their time and their money. Your stance can't be, I'm an alternative to them over there, because them over there, they're not good right now. Well, what happens when the pendulum inevitably swings and they're good again, right? If your pitch
and your only alternative is I'm not them.
Yeah, if your pitch is Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman suck right now, so you should get my stuff because it doesn't suck, allegedly, right? And then like,
right.
What happens when all of a sudden, well, two things. What happens when all of a sudden those books no longer suck, and people who are fans of Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman are like, well, I'm gonna go back to reading Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman because these are, you know, seminal to my childhood. You know, they have so many core memories attached to the characters. And the other part being, well, what if you're talking with somebody who, even if you might think, or other people you know and tend to agree with might think that those characters' books are bad at any given time? What if the person you're talking with right now doesn't agree? What if they're just a comic book fan and for whatever reason, their position is different from yours? And that's okay. We can disagree on that. But if you're trying to pitch somebody your stuff by way of telling them that the thing that they currently like sucks, let me tell you, you're not going to be successful.
You'll have a flash in the pan moment. Absolutely. Like we've seen that happen all the time, right? I mean, the big 90s comic explosion of like independent comics back with like zines and all that was kind of the selling point of them. There's some great stuff in those, but there's also just waves of crap because it's just crap. And what if you're only going buy my stuff because I'm not them, well then what happens when people want that? Like you said, now you're just going, well, I'm not them. You don't have any, you know, you didn't say you should read this character if you're a fan of this or that.
You're not pitching the work for the sake of the work and for the quality of the work. You're just trying to pitch yourself as an alternative for alternative's sake. And the fact of the matter is, there are going to be people that disagree with you. There are going to be people who still, and that's been the case forever. You and I've been reading comic books for decades, right? There have always been people who think that, you know, Clone Conspiracy and Clone Saga are wonderful and amazing storytelling, and we know better. But that's okay. They can be wrong.
Okay, you can speak for yourself. I only say I don't know if I know better I know about Clone Conspiracy, but at this point, I'm starting to get like that. Like, what do you call it? Like, what is it like when you're captured by somebody and you start like going on to their side because
what's it called? Syndrome. I know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. There's a specific term that as soon as somebody drops it, we're gonna go, duh. But that's what I'm feeling that way about the Clone Saga lately because of
fair
just
enough.
how bent. So, but this isn't to say it's a good story. I'm just admitting,
syndrome. There it is.
There we go. Thank you, Scooter. Oh my God, you saved our lives. But yeah, that's not to say that I know that I'm not saying it's a good story. I'm saying don't listen to me. Don't listen. Oh yeah, and stop. Stop the Madness also got us. Thank you guys. Oh my God, like that was
Appreciate you. We were
hurting,
both
like,
feeling incredibly dumb there for a
that hurt
moment.
so bad. So, all right. Aside from, talking about alternatives and League of Comic Geeks, the reason I bring that up is because, kind of on that point, it's very, very cool. I think most of us here, if we know the Rippaverse already, or we've followed you for a couple years, know that you guys are that alternative. You guys didn't pitch yourself as we're not them, right? But you did say, hey, things are kind of crappy right now. We have something we think you like. Here is my pitch for Isom, Yaira, Alpha Core, so on and so forth. And so, where was I going with that one? Wow, that train went off the track really, really fast with what I was trying to say. Oh, yes.
That's called being derailed.
That is called getting derailed. So where I was going with that is you got that you guys are now featured on League of Comic Geeks shows that you, even though you are quote unquote indie or an alternative, true comic fans, right? Like we want to know what is being released everywhere. And the fact that you can stand shoulder to shoulder with things that are as popular as One Piece or Solo Leveling, or I mean, if you guys know League of Comic Geeks, they have, the way they lay it out is like by most pulled every week. So like obviously at the top, you've got Spider-Man, Batman, blah, 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 blah. And then, you go down to the bottom where there aren't necessarily sales numbers, right? This isn't to say your stuff doesn't sell. It's just you guys don't publicly release them or anything. So you're thrown in there with all the webtoons and the manga. And it's still really cool to see you guys standing shoulder to shoulder with that. And so in service, whoa, what was that? Oh, did you hear that?
I didn't hear nothing.
I'm hearing like a really weird, I have no idea what's going on. Okay, maybe my computer is just haunted. No idea. But
haunted PC.
It happens, all right? My computer's exploded enough times. Okay, yeah, Susanu heard it. So we'll just keep our ears out for whatever that. Okay, yeah, it stopped the madness heard it too. I think are you coming in through your other mic?
Yeah.
Like your webcam mic? Because there's weird graveling.
Really? So I'm not getting anything on my YouTube end.
All right, let's see here. Maybe I can do something here. I think we're good. All right, maybe this is just going to be the ghost in the shell is here. All right, we're just going to have to deal with it. But we'll figure it out, guys. If not, I can, at least it's not that bad. It's an occasional haunting. Yeah, like, is it me?
Maybe.
I'm gonna mute you for 1 second, Andrew, and I'm gonna talk, and I'm going to, yeah, okay. Hibiki heard it too. Yeah, right. It sounds like a ghost is like trying to like, don't read the book. Don't. Yeah. It doesn't even sound like Andrew. It sounds like when a radio is coming over. And so I haven't heard it in the last few seconds. Yeah, when I unmute you, there's some weird ghost feedback.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'd have heard a woman's voice. Is that somebody in the chat saying I sound feminine? Is that
I mean, I would just say it outright, but see, I would just call you a girl, but now I'm saying like we're being legitimately haunted.
Let me take a look at StreamYard audio here. No, nothing weird in there.
What about the broadcast thing?
Look at that.
NVIDIA thing, yeah.
That's using only the audio input that it should be. Weird.
Well, maybe we're good now. All right.
If it comes back, guys, let us know.
And we'll try our best to exercise. Yeah, Hibiki, the ghost of Christmas past that is haunting us. But back to the topic at hand. So with you guys obviously having grown to the point of being listed on League of Comic Geeks with like regularly, not just 1 or 2 releases here or there, you guys have obviously expanded. And part of that expansion in your offerings obviously is Blue Shift, your brand new hero. Andrew,
Yes,
why don't
sir.
you just let people know a little bit about what Blue Shift has going on?
So Blue Shift came about from me wanting to add and inject a little bit of light and kind of, I don't know, something a little more flashy into the Rippaverse because we have a lot of either morally gray characters or very morally complex characters. We have a lot of anti-heroes. We have a lot of like darker stories that we're telling. And that's totally cool. That's fantastic. I love those characters, but it's important to have some sort of a balance. And when you have a lot of darkness, you need to inject a little bit of light. And Zephyr Arland is the real name of the character, with his hero name being Blue Shift. He came about from that need, from that desire to inject a little bit of light into that. I've always loved the speedster archetype. I'm a massive fan of the Flash. I'm a massive fan of Quicksilver and Velocity over Image Comics. I like Excel and Doc Rocket and all these other characters. I'm a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan. And
Doc,
so that's
that might be the only public mention of Doc Rocket
right. It
ever,
might be. It
ever.
might be. Well, because most people don't know any speedster that isn't named the Flash, right?
Well, but also to be fair, that's Youngblood, and I don't know if anybody
And
made it past like issue 3 of the original Youngblood.
that is true, honestly. That is completely true and fair. However, um, I wanted to exercise and leverage my kind of long-standing experience and love and respect for that archetype and kind of repackage it as something that was going to be for our world, our universe, the Rippaverse. And so I said, okay, I want to make something that's going to bring in some younger readers because that's something that comic books are genuinely missing right now.
They really
The
are.
health of the industry will take um, a huge shift, we'll say, for the positive if it can re-inject some younger lifeblood into it in terms of readership, right? And we're
Right.
seeing a little bit of that because we're seeing some younger like teens and stuff like that gravitate towards like say the absolute universe over at DC, which is fantastic to see people doing that. The
And we
indie
also
scene
see
needs that too.
isn't Vaughn Coleman of the Phenomenal, isn't he a relatively young kid?
Yeah, Vaughn is in his early 20s.
Yeah,
He's he's a kid and he's freaking
that's so
creating
cool.
his own comic
It's
book,
so
right?
cool, but I envy your youth. I'll take it
Right.
from you.
Right? But that's the thing. That's important to do to reach out and bring in that younger readership because then that younger readership is inevitably also going to check out the stuff as they continue to age and mature. They're going to check out the other stuff too. Right now, the indie scene has a lot of like it's a lot of like 90s greatest hits, I like to say, where it's like
I can see that.
we're gonna lean into either like the super dark and edgy, like we're gonna try and be darkness, right?
Oh
And
my god.
Spawn type of stuff. And to be fair,
Decade.
there's nothing wrong with doing that because
No,
like Death
absolutely not.
Shroud, which you
Yep.
you interviewed
Shout
Chad
out
Larson,
Chad
Death
Larson.
Shroud is a
Yeah.
fantastic and beautiful
It's
book.
cool. Yeah, it's great.
It's just a cool book, absolutely. However, you have a lot of just that and a lot of like um just kind of like pinup and sexy books. And while I certainly don't have any problem with that
Oh,
either, I was
hell
reading
no. Go
Witchblade
look at all
long
my
before I
variant
should
covers.
have been reading
Are
Witchblade.
half of my, or not even half, like 98% of my variant cover spending is for those cheesecake pinups. We know this.
Exactly. Exactly. We like what we like, right? However, you have to also have something in there that is like going to increase your readership beyond just people who were already reading that stuff in the 90s when they were teenagers or in their
Right.
20s, right? You're at that point, you're like a sports team that is not fostering their bench,
Oh
right?
yeah, I mean you're not fostering your bench. You're doing the thing that, I mean, the Bears did this a couple seasons ago, but every game you're like, oh crap, I got to go get a new defensive lineman. I got to go get a new O, and you're like,
Mhm.
why can't you, like, if you'd have built everybody up, if you'd have made a plan for this, you wouldn't be in this situation. But because you kind of
Exactly.
went with the trends and didn't think, now the industry is suffering very, very hard.
Yeah. And so that's the way that I look at it with indie comics. And I wanted to be kind of a part of that solution. And so I created Blue Shift. I wanted to do a speedster right away. That's my favorite archetype in terms of superheroes. And I wanted to do like a superhero's superhero, right? I wanted to lean into that like heart of gold mentality. I wanted to lean into this is a fun, quippy, kind of sassy character. The main DNA makeup for him is Peter Parker and Sonic the Hedgehog. So he's got like the quippiness, he's got the sassiness, he's meant to be playful, he's meant to be fun. But because of that, I also get to play around with like the interpersonal stuff as
Right.
well, like when he's not superheroing. And that's an important facet too. And so the tryout short story that debuted in Rippazy #5, it's Zephyr's first day being allowed to attend a quote unquote normal regular school because his family has a secret, and his family's secret is that it involves XFs. Um, and XFs are basically our
Yeah.
universe's version of like metahumans, right? It's
Oh
basically
man, I wanted to do the editor note. I was gonna go for everybody who doesn't know.
sorry, I'm used to it because I'm used to putting that in when I'm doing my
I
editorial
know.
notes on books and things like that. Um, and so it's his first day at a normal school, right? Like his family's got this secret. They've got superpowered beings in the family. He hasn't been allowed to attend a normal school, not just because he is an except, but also because there's a massive drawback and negative side effect specifically to his except power. And that's something that I plan on leaning into over time because one of the things we talked about, and we've talked about this on Foil Variant, where it's really easy to break your universe's power scaling with a
Oh
speedster.
yeah.
Like really easy. We
Like,
know this because DC and Marvel have done it over and over. DC especially, right? So you have to be careful with that.
well, to be fair,
And
Marvel had to bring in DC's speedsters to break theirs. You know what I mean?
oh,
He
that's
had to get Buried Alien
okay.
in here. Buried Alien didn't
Buried
even have a
Alien.
no competition even with Quasar. All right.
Yeah, I'm about to say nobody knows who Quasar and the Runner is, like outside of you, me, and
Well,
maybe like 3 other people.
I mean, that's still more people than knows the entire rest of that lineup of Marvel speedsters, right?
That is true. Well, that's because nobody knows the Marvel speedsters. I bet nobody in the chat knew that Marvel and DC both have speedsters named Speed Demon.
Which is
Uh,
awesome, and they've never done anything with it.
no, no, it's true. Um, but yeah, like I really wanted to have something that was fun. And he has a massive drawback to his power. And that's something that we don't see that often when it comes to speedsters. They'll do
Yeah.
interesting stuff like maybe like was it trajectory, right? Where like she can
Oh yeah.
only she'll run, but then she's gonna be snapped back. It's like a rubber band, right? Like she's snapped back to where she
Like
went.
Yo-Yo had that too over in
Yeah,
Agents of Shield. Yeah.
and that's interesting, right? But to me, that's not as fun to play with. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But I gave him a pretty detrimental drawback to his power that I'm quite proud of, and it plays a lot into the storytelling of the character. Um, and I think people are gonna have a lot of fun with it because it was heavily inspired by uh, like shonen mangas and anime. Like that's the
Oh,
energy that I'm
I
trying
think
to go with.
I think you at least communicated that in the, let me bring it back up, the art style, right? You guys,
Oh yeah.
Eddie clearly, your artist Eddie Souza clearly leaned into the more manga leanings, more manga art
Hmm.
style, especially for the Rippaverse, right? You guys
Yeah.
obviously, and this is not a criticism. I love Bennett. I love everything you guys, or like the designs you guys have put out, but you guys lean more into that realistic, like you said, 90s image sort of, muscles and bashing, which is cool, but it kind of leaves a giant gap there, like you were saying, right? So
Hmm.
I think this slides right in. Would you also say so? On that sort of note, when you were talking about Blue Shift has a weakness and he has, he has to deal with his alter ego life. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you obviously know, you've read everything. I've only read, a handful of offerings. But would you say this makes Blue Shift probably your most vulnerable, most, I don't want to say like most human, but most, what am I trying, not relatable, but I think you know what I'm trying to go.
I mean, he
Vulnerable is
is
probably the right
ultimately meant to
term,
be
right?
kind of an everyman. He's meant to be relatable. We have a lot of larger than life characters, right? Like you've
Yeah.
got
Oh yeah.
Avery, you've got Yaira,
Zaylin.
you've Zalen for sure, right? Are basically like our Adam Warlock slash Judge Dredd in
Yeah.
space, who's a complete and total badass. Um, but you, I think it's important to have those characters a little more relatable on a human aspect, right? Because you may have Yaira's alter ego, Sally Rodell, but she's
Right.
still not particularly vulnerable just because she's not wearing her suit, right?
A lot of
There's
your Rippaverse heroes seem to be that more Green Arrowy, daredevil-y, they're adults, they have a life,
Mhm.
and it's more about how do I, like, my powers are a new, not necessarily inconvenience, but a new hurdle I have to get through and everything. And how do I, Yaira, for example, how do I get up through all this without just becoming like a super criminal and bashing my way through everything? So yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so to that end, he is very much intended to be more of that everyman type where he is a lot more vulnerable, especially when he's not superheroing. And there's actual narrative reasons for that that are tied into his powers. I'm not going to say too much on that, but like he isn't just as a kid just zipping around constantly. Like he actually can't.
What is
And
is
there's
is what's that like? It's secret identity drama? What? I don't.
yeah.
What is that? I don't remember
Like
that anymore.
Like I said, I took a lot of inspiration from Peter Parker in terms of part of his genetic makeup, and so I wanted to really have that balance between yeah, we all love cool action set pieces, right? Like I'm an anime and manga fan, right? Like I want
Oh
to
yeah,
see
of
cool
course.
stuff happening. I want to see cool fights, but I want there to be drama and storytelling that builds towards those fights and builds towards those cool climaxes. And so I
Drama.
really want to have fun playing with those moments where he's not in a fight, right?
Right. I mean, those moments I think are what really like, how do I put this? For example, obviously we've talked about Spider-Man. You're a giant Spider-Man fan. I'm a giant Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man obviously played a role in, or a part in, Blue Shift's creation. A lot of superhero comics before him didn't necessarily get into that nitty-gritty of like, oh, I have to pay rent. Oh, holy shit, like,
Mhm.
how do I explain that I was late, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they broke up with me. How does that affect me as a person? And I think that it was one of the, is and was one of the big appeals of Spider-Man. And I think that is something we tend to in comic books nowadays, right? We either get none of that, where we just go action, action, action. Oh, she left, whatever. Now I'm just angry. Or we
Right.
get too much of it, right? We get that coffee shop AU that you and I always talk about, where the character is just, what was that book? Spectacular Spider-Man, right? The one with
Oh,
Peter and Miles, where it was literally just every issue was them going to that coffee shop and having a therapy session. And that's not even, I'm not even making a joke, guys. That's literally what it was. It was
yeah.
a group
That made
therapy
me
book. It
that
was
made me
weird.
drop a book that was being drawn by my boy Umberto Ramos. Like
Which
I was just like I couldn't do it anymore, man. Like
that was
it was not
so,
fun. It was boring, and I don't want boring.
and
It's okay. Not every single Spider-Man comic, and Jonathan Hickman has proven this with Ultimate Spider-Man.
absolutely.
Not every single Spider-Man story needs to have a big action set piece. But if you don't, you need to have interesting storytelling, interesting interpersonal interactions going on
You need to
in
have
place of that.
emotional action scenes, if you will,
Yeah,
right? For example, yeah, you brought up Ultimate Spider-Man. That's a book that you and I have loved. I mean, that was the book that got us back into buying comic books, right? When it
yeah.
launched in 2024, you and I were like, all right, it's Spider-Man. And you were like, I don't know about Hickman, but I was like, come on, trust him. We can do this. And it paid off.
You were like, in Hickman we trust, man.
In
Come
Hickman,
on.
we trust, as long as we don't let him go full Hickman
Just don't
and do
go full
something like
Hickman, right?
Gods. Like when once you get to
Oh
Gods,
yeah.
now we need to have a talk. But
Yeah.
uh I'm sure you've seen this too. A lot of people have been complaining about those issues. We've gotten like 4 of them so far, where it's very exposition heavy. Peter
Mhm.
doesn't even put on the suit. In a couple of them, Peter doesn't even appear, right? Like the most recent one with Gwen and
Yeah.
Harry. But people complain like, well, this is such a dumb series. Why am I reading this? What a bore, potential man. And
I don't know, maybe pay attention to the storytelling that's happening on the
pay
page.
attention,
I don't know.
exactly, like pay attention to the storytelling. But in the I've never, you and I have never really like seen that viewpoint, because even in those talking issues, right? It's, you get those hits of, oh, you're not Peter Parker, you're the symbiote suit. Oh,
Mhm,
I'm actually scared now, Peter. What do we do? Like, you get these human, like, oh shit, like that affects you as a person,
mhm.
right? And yeah, like there's a balance. There's a good balance to have there. And I'm sure, or at least I would hope, that you run that balance well in Blue Shift
I'm
because
trying to strike that
because
balance.
you're aware of it. Because you're
Yeah.
aware of it.
Well, that's the thing, and it hopefully between the practice and the assistance that I've had from really fantastic writers and editors, I've been able to kind of couple that and pair that with my love of this medium, my love of these types of stories, right? Um, I think it's important to have Peter Parker stories where we're diving into like his interpersonal connections that he has with people around him. Not to say that we need to be rehashing the same thing over and over and over in Marvel editorial,
No,
but like it's still an important facet because Peter is more than just Spider-Man, right?
right,
He is that's one of the like incredibly crucial foundational things about him because at the time, like you just mentioned, when Spider-Man first was introduced, we didn't really have a lot of that, if any at all, of like superhero characters also having to deal with like real life
life, yeah,
normal drama, like the normal stuff that your everyman, your Joe Schmo has to put up with. Like, what is this? Like the superhero is struggling to get the girl? Like the superhero is struggling to pay rent? That's not a thing. No, it is for this guy. This guy's more realistic, right? And so I wanted to leverage a little bit of that. And I think that I struck a balance between that and the fun that you find in shonen manga and anime. Because like I spoke about before, you want to bring in a younger audience as well to continue to grow the medium and get more people, whether that means those people they try out Blue Shift and they're like, okay, that was fun, but I am at least
wasn't
interested
for
in this
me.
medium, and
Yeah,
so now I'm gonna go check out these other comics, right? That's just healthier for the medium overall. As long as they're finding an avenue and an outlet to get into comic books and enjoy comic books. I hope mine's one of them, and I hope they stick with mine. But at the end of the day, if we're growing the overall pool of
right.
comic book readers and comic book fans, that is a net positive because right now it's shrinking because the industry has not properly fostered the bench. It hasn't fostered the bench in terms of creatives, and it hasn't fostered the bench in terms of readership. And
No,
who has been fostering that bench in terms of the readership is the Japanese with manga, right? And they're not even doing anything special. They're doing the same thing they've been doing for decades and decades,
yep.
which is just like good, fun storytelling that appeals to a generation, and that generation locks in, right?
Well, I mean, the other thing too is, and this is something you guys at the Rippaverse have obviously kind of built your entire business model in or on, is distribution, right? That's one of the big key things for manga and all that, right? You go to Japan, Wednesday comes around, you go buy your weekly Shonen Jump. It's got 20 different series in, a new chapter for
Mhm.
20 different series. It's that fat, guys. It's like $3, right? And it's meant to be literally. You're meant to leave those things like in Japan. You leave Shonen Jump when you're done, and somebody else comes and picks it up, right? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how they do it. And then with you guys, obviously, you've really hammered in not only like the direct sale market style, but also, which is probably one of the better things you guys have done to foster trust, especially as a fledgling company, is you guys make sure you've got everything, right? Like you guys don't necessarily crowdfund to print. You're not even actually crowdfunding. You're more just getting pre-orders, right? But the overall industry, as we see, like in the West, where do you go buy comic books, guys? The comic book store.
Mhm.
That's that's not really convenient. No kid is going. I remember being a kid. I'm sure you do too.
A lot
You're at the
a lot of cities don't have one.
a lot of cities don't have them, and if they do, they're kind of like out of the way. They're not really. You have to like go there to go to them. Back in our day, you would be with your mom at the grocery store, and there's Sonic the Hedgehog, and you go,
Yep.
"Oh shit, Knuckles is on the cover. Shadow, let me grab that." And yeah, guys, that's not the collector, but that is how you get people into comic books. You catch their interest, they go, "Oh, this is really cool," and they dive into it, right? So yeah, like the West is super dropping the ball in terms of that. I just wanted to point out that like its distribution is a big thing, and you guys, I just wanted to give props to you guys for actually tackling that.
Thank you. Well, that's one of the one of the major issues with the industry that Eric saw. So not most of the issues that Eric wanted to tackle had nothing to do with like, oh, they did this with this character, they were doing this with the storylines or whatever. A lot of it was economical, and a lot of it not making sense. And one of those things
Two
was
ninety
trying
nine.
to
Hold the line at $2.99 next
oh
week.
man,
$4.
all
Oh, it's
right.
still my favorite.
That
It's
was
still, for those of you who don't remember, around the time of the pandemic back in like 2020, DC was like, okay, we got to get people back into comics. What do? Make them cheap. And they said, all
mhm.
right, all our books are going to be $2.99. And they had a whole ad campaign for it. And then literally like the week after that, there was some event book and it was $4 or $5. And that went completely out of the window immediately.
Mhm.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, so in terms of I want to jump back just a second because this was a
Yeah.
question I had on my mind. You brought up, when you were talking about Peter Parker and Spider-Man and being that different alternative to, make everything else that was coming out in comics. Obviously, Blue Shift is a shift in the normal offerings of the Rippaverse.
Mhm.
Two questions to that, right? So the first question is, I'm sure the answer is obvious. Blue Shift is going to be like a full-on active member of like the wider Rippaverse. I don't think he's like out of continuity, right? But think of your like a Jesse Quick, right? Who's like she's there, but we don't really give her big attention. I assume, hopefully, God willing, sales willing, and all that stuff. Zephyr Arland has a plan to keep hanging out in Florist Park.
So, while nothing's been greenlit yet,
Yeah,
in terms of like, because we got to get fan feedback. That's one of the things that we do when
that's
we
why I
have
said
these.
sales willing. Yep.
Yeah, these Ripazine. Well, the sales were already there at least for that. So sales were already there for Ripazine number 5. It exceeded expectations, especially considering I'm a nobody, right? Brand new comic book writer. Um, Sales exceeded expectations. Now it's about fan feedback. So what do the fans think, right? When they actually get their hands on it, what are they going to tell us, right? So once we get the feedback from them, because after we send out each Ripazine, we usually try to give it about a month, and then we'll send out a like a customer feedback survey that is specific to that zine, and they'll tell
Mm-hmm.
us like stuff of what they liked and didn't like about various segments. But one of them is also honing in on that particular zine issue's short story, right? And so when we send that out, then we'll get the feedback from the fans of like, hey, so what did you guys ultimately think of this? Do you want more of it? Now, if that gets greenlit for more, thankfully, I actually already have 2 full arcs completely written out and finished. Like 2 full 3-part arcs finished. We're talking
That's
like,
above and beyond. Yeah.
yeah, quite a bit of book. And in fact, I wrote both of those 3-part arcs before I wrote this short story. Um,
Oh, you had. Oh, wait. So you like wrote. So this is technically like a prequel in your
Kind of, at least
flow.
for me. Yeah, at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
for me.
yeah.
So it was funny, like my original script, based on how I was doing things, wound up becoming arc 2, and then I wrote a completely different arc for arc 1, which wound up being really easy to write because I had a goalpost, right? I had a
Right.
target that I wanted to shoot for. I'm like, okay, so how do I get him from here to here? And that was actually super easy. Like I flew through that script pretty quickly. And then Caro, our assistant editor in chief and my editor on Blue
Shout out,
Shift,
Caro.
was like, and she's
Great
the
gal.
creator and writer of Dirty Deeds. Yeah, she's awesome. And she
I'm
was
better
like,
than her at D&D.
and she was like, these are cool. These are great. This probably needs to be a Ripazine thing though first. So how about you give me a 16-page short story? And I'm like, okay. So then I wrote the 16-page
And
short
you know
story.
what? Like, I'm sure, like for those of you out there, like that's not even a bad thing, right? Like that's not
No.
Caro saying like, oh, I don't think this is good. Take it back to the drawing board. It's just kind of the smarter way to introduce these. I mean,
Yeah. Otherwise, she
Peter
would have said,
Parker.
how about you stick with social media, buddy?
Right,
Like,
exactly, right? Peter Parker didn't get Spider-Man #1. He got I'm one story in Amazing Fantasy number 15,
number 15. Yeah.
right? So that's a pretty smart move on her end.
And it absolutely was. And I hope that people really end up enjoying the short story and the teaser that's at the very end. That is a tease of things to come. Um, that being said, he is absolutely planned as being
Nice.
a key character within the city of Florist Park. There's gonna be fun things I'm gonna do to play off of that because for those that are fans of Rippaverse comics, Florist Park is a city of law, it's a city of order. It's not a city of vigilantes, right?
Right.
So, and it's a big city too. So, like, don't think of it as like
I
this
think
is
I
your.
I think a
This
lot
is
of people forget
basically
this.
this is our like metropolis or our New York, right? Like this city is massive, and so we can
Yeah.
have multiple characters existing within it, but the Alpha
I mean, look,
Core is
Marvel
the
has New
team.
York, and there's nine. You
There's
turn on the
9,000
lights. Yeah, you turn
heroes,
on the
right?
lights, and 700 spider people run into the walls, right?
You throw a stone, you're gonna hit one of them in the head, and you know,
And hopefully take them out.
19 of them might be a spider folk, right? Like so at this point, so he's absolutely meant to be there. Absolutely
Awesome.
meant to be
So
there.
with that, obviously, I'm sure, as you said, nothing is confirmed, nothing's greenlit. But in your brainstorming, have you found any sort of, either significant trouble, or like hardship in getting Zephyr to like line up with everybody to fit into the rest of the Rippaverse, or like the Flora Spark? Or conversely, did you find it like super easy? Like, oh, he's so not what we like, he's so new to our scene that he kind of just slotted right in.
You know, I want to be very careful with my answer to this because I don't want it to come across as giving myself a pat in the back because it's
I'll
not
give
what
it to
it
you.
is.
Fuck it.
I appreciate that, buddy. Um, but it was actually very easy, and that's because I have the benefit of having access to our universe Bible
Oh yeah.
and the scripts that are getting turned in and outlines and pitches and things like that. So I know what other writers have planned. And because I am acutely aware that I'm just one hopeful writer within an expanding universe that has writers who are far more tenured than I am, right? Like we have Chuck Dixon writing stuff for us, right? Like I have to be cognizant all the time of the fact that we have long-standing creatives. And so I want to make sure I'm being respectful of the things that the other writers within the writing team are creating, right? And so I was able to leverage things in my scripts for Blue Shift that were things that were about to happen or had
Ooh.
happened or were going to happen, and like layer that in sometimes very subtle blinking and miss it ways, and other
Oh,
times
nice.
like very obvious ways if
Well,
it
yeah.
made sense, right?
Yeah.
And so having him fit into Florist Park was actually quite easy. The only tricky thing really was figuring out, um, when did I really wanna start his quote unquote "career." So
Right.
the Blue Shift tryout short story takes place if this gets greenlit for more, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
Those stories are all gonna be when he's in, like, his senior year and beyond of high school, so 18 and
Oh,
older.
you mean the further stories?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Whereas the tryout short story, that's his freshman year in
Yeah.
high school, right? It's a little tease. It's meant to just kind of like set up the major supporting cast that are going to be incredibly vital to his stories moving forward, whether it's his
He's gonna have
family.
a bully where everybody hates him, and then 40 years later, he becomes like the coolest character possibly actively in comics. Right? I miss.
I
I Where's Agent
I
Toxin? I miss him.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I have plans for a character that would be definitely not a one-to-one. Is very different from like a Flash Thompson, but I was thinking Flash Thompson energy when I was creating and writing them.
Right.
Because again, like Spider-Man was a huge part of my inspiration for this. Yes, I've got a speedster, right? Everybody is going to immediately think Flash,
Flash.
but I'm actually outside of the fact that he's a speedster. I was looking everywhere else but Flash when I was creating both his rogues gallery,
Really?
his supporting cast, the way that I wanted him to interact with people. Like I was actually more inspired by Peter's rogues gallery and Sonic's rogues gallery and
Okay.
their
What do
supporting
you mean
casts
Sonic's
than
Rose
any.
Gallery? It's
He's
one
got some
fat
bad
guy.
guys in
It's one
it.
fat
It's
guy.
one fat guy. He's
It's
got
one.
more than just one
It's
fat
one
guy.
fat guy. It's the fat guy's robot, and it's technically whatever like the seven deadly sins were, but nobody
We don't
remembers
talk
that
about
they, yeah,
Sonic Lost World. We don't talk about that. We
exactly.
don't talk.
Nobody remembers they
We're not
exist.
talking Lost
The,
World. No.
the last time we got mention of them was in DC Sonic. Remember when Flash and Sonic just kind of like what's his like the big bad sin or whatever? He's like, oh, I have the Emerald, like I win, and they just like yoink, bye.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, so I leaned into things that had nothing to do with the Flash or any other speedster in general when I was building out everything else because I wanted it to be he's supposed to be his own thing. Yeah, there's inspiration there.
Oh, of course.
I'd be a liar and an idiot if I said I wasn't taking inspiration from the Flash, Quicksilver, Velocity, Sonic in his design. They're actually
Oh,
so
there's you can see it.
you had it pulled
Yeah,
up
I'm gonna
the
bring it. I
GIF.
was just bringing it back.
So shout out to Joshua Ignatowski. He's a big fan of what we do over the Rippaverse. He's also a big Chuck Dixon fan. He's honestly he probably holds the record for the most questions asked on Chuck Dixon's Ask Chuck Dixon
Yeah, his like daily
weekly
morning one.
show.
Yeah, or his
Like
weekly one. Yeah.
like he's got him so many times. I always appreciate his insight and what he asks because I end up getting a cool answer to a question,
Of
right? To
course,
a cool
yeah.
question. So it's really impressive. However, he was the first person to pick out one of the key inspirations for the visual of Zephyr's blue shift supersuit
Mhm.
and the blue shifting colors of his energy. So that comes from the astrophysics concept of blue shift and red
Yep.
shift, right? So that's the scientific portion of it, right? So that was important to me, and that holds narrative significance. The other part actually is that it was inspired by hypersonic, which only has one appearance in all of media,
He
right?
does.
Where like he instead, supersonic is the one everybody knows about. He's a yellowish gold, and he's basically the Super Saiyan version of Sonic, right? But hypersonic,
I mean, come on, like
7
it is.
emeralds,
I
7
mean,
Dragon
seven
Balls, right?
emeralds.
Like,
You're like your main rival becomes like your strongest ally, right? You got a
yeah,
little,
exactly.
you got like a boy sidekick who wants to grow up into yours. Like we see you, Yuji. We see you.
Yeah, we do see you, right? But the fact is, hypersonic, I always thought was really cool because he had this unique thing where he was constantly flashing across the visible light spectrum, right?
Which
And the
gave him
colors
like
that
this white pink almost like
it gave him kind
standard
of like
color.
an iridescent look to it. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
I like that. Like he specifically with hypersonic, the colors that they use, because obviously they were dealing with like 32-bit graphics
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time on the Genesis, right? God bless them. The colors that he was shifting through were specifically the colors of the Super Emeralds in Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
I never put that together.
Yep.
Obviously, because yeah, they only have limited colors, so obviously you like swap in colors. Like that's why Mega Man guys, when you
Mm-hmm.
change his suit or like you change weapons, all the menus and everything change because there's only so many colors that you can pull from
Mm-hmm.
back then. So they go, oh, the blue changes, then it changes everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You had like limited, bandwidth to work with there in terms of your processing power and the graphical capabilities of the Genesis. But that being said, shout out to Joshua for picking that out. That was a huge inspiration. There's actually more Sonic inspiration. Is actually the reason why he has the green eyes. The red hair. I know that there are people who think that the red hair is because I'm a Wally West fan, which I am.
And that's a valid like assumption, right?
And
Like
that's an easy guess. I can't
yeah,
actually fault anybody that's like, oh, like he likes Wally West, so he
you
gave his
see that
speedster
character,
red hair,
yeah. You go, oh,
right?
Wally, yeah.
That's an easy guess to make. However, you would actually be
Surprise.
incorrect in terms of the shade of color of his hair because Wally, when his hair is colored correctly, is that light orange ginger. And honestly, his hair color has been some of the most inconsistently colored in the last handful of
I
years.
I don't know why
It's
it's been
so
bugging me
annoying.
so much, dude. That one absolute cover of him where he's like,
Where his hair's like brown?
it's a
Is that the one you're
brown.
talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the one that's coming for like the next issue. Like
Yeah.
it, we've seen him like go through that bad like editorial standards or whatever like quality standards, but for
Mhm.
some reason that one specifically like it feels like they didn't even try. right? In
Right. Yeah,
Hyuk, it was like in
exactly.
Hyuk, you just went brown.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like I've seen his hair go across the spectrum. However, the fact of the matter is, for the majority of his history, and when
It's like a
he's actually
strawberry.
colored, it's meant to be that either strawberry blonde or like ginger orange, right? Like that is the correct coloring for his hair. Zephyr's hair is actually, and this is where the actual one-to-one shading is supposed to come from, Velocity. Karen
Yep.
Taylor over at Image Comics, who is part of Cyberforce. That's where I derived his hair color from. Zephyr's hair is also much longer. It's meant to be very wild. Shape wise, I took a little bit of inspiration from like Gambit. I wanted something wild because I was
Yep.
like, I'm not
Could
trying
see
to
that
make,
here with the mess.
yeah, like, and there's actually a remark from a character. I won't say who, but there's a remark about his messy hair in the comic, right? And so I was trying to pull in because this is, guys, this is what people who love a thing do if they're trying to be creatives. They will pull from different things that they love and homage and pay respects to them. I
Yep.
actually, back in October at the Rippaverse, we went to San Antonio Space Con, and there was
Super
a
cool.
gentleman there who was a fantastic cosplayer. He had like the objective best Doctor Strange cosplay I'd ever seen in my life. It
Did he
looked
have
like
like
I
an
was
Eye
like,
of Agamotto that moved?
he did. Well, he had it to where it
Yes.
also it had a sensor on it. I shit you
So
not.
he could
To
just
where
move
like
his like hand
he
in
could
front of it.
move his hands over it and it would
That's really
open. And I
cool.
was like,
That's really
what
cool.
is going on right now? That is incredibly cool. Like you could tell the dude just loved what he did, right?
And also I know the feeling of dressing up like that. How can you not feel like Doctor Strange when you're doing that, right? Like
Mhm.
it's so fun. Just whoosh.
Exactly. And it's funny, and I felt so validated because he and I wound up talking for like an hour about comics. We were talking about past comics. We were talking about older comics. We were talking about current comics. We were talking about like whether or not we were looking forward to DCKO. Neither of us were,
Good.
and he wound up eventually asked me after I had like sold him on some Chuck Dixon books that we had, like Alpha Core and Horseman, things like that.
Horseman.
He was like, do you have anything? Have you written anything? I was like, I did write a short story. And I did create a character. However, it's not yet printed. It's currently the files are being sent to the printer. And so I showed him Zephyr's design in terms of like him in the blue shift super suit. And he was like, that's cool. And he and I had been talking and we were both big Wally West fans. And when he first saw it, he picked out the Quicksilver references in the design first. That was the first
Which
thing
is
that
so
came to
what
mind.
I
And I
think
was like,
even
I
I
was
didn't
so
even I
happy.
didn't place it, guys. Like he showed me Blue Shift a while ago, and I was like, "That's awesome." He's like, "Did you get the Quicksilver?" And I went, "No, what?
Yeah,
What?" And then I went, "Why?" You're like
yeah.
Pietro's only fan.
Well, it's funny because Pietro, when he's written well, he's kind of that lovable dick where it's like, man, you are not a nice person, but you're still kind of fun in terms of like how you interact with the characters around you. Like, I don't know if I'd really want much in way of a solo book of him because the fun with
Yeah,
Pietro is how he interacts with everybody else, right? And so he picked that out right away. He also picked out the velocity in terms of Zephyr's hair color, which I very much appreciated. But there's a lot of love for various speedsters that went into creating Zephyr's design. Literally, the only thing that was inspired by um, any Flash or Flash family character is the fact that he's got the half cowl. That's literally the only
really.
thing. The open hair.
But I
Like
also know you also just like that in general.
I
Like
just, well, yeah, like
you and I
if I
have a
was
debate
making,
about this a lot. Yeah.
it's true. You and I argue over it, right? Like if I was creating a character who was like a Superman archetype, and I was gonna put a mask on him, I would put him in a half cowl anyway, right? Because
Right.
like
Yeah.
I just love the half cowl design, and that's also tied into his storytelling because I look at having. It's one of the reasons why I don't wear hats very much, actually, because I look at having your hair free and open. You can feel the wind blowing through it.
Oh yeah.
There's a liberty to that. There's a freedom that you get from that,
That's
and
visual communication there.
yeah, and Zephyr feels liberty and freedom from utilizing his acceptabilities to help people, to save people.
And
And
especially
there's
given that he's had to like hide it for so long.
and that's the thing. Like he was forced to hide that for so long, and it comes to the point where, yeah, obviously he's still in a costume, so he's not running around just in his normal casual clothes, right? He's not in his Dickies, and do people even wear Dickies anymore? Is that even a thing?
I have no idea if anybody's gonna know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh man, I'm dating myself again. Um, but like
Vaughn.
the half, yeah, and the half cowl, like it's not even like so many characters have half cows. In terms of speedsters, hey, my man,
Yeah,
Susanoo,
right.
I appreciate you.
Got it.
That's my favorite comment tonight in tonight's stream because that made me feel less old. Um, so that's fantastic. But like, there's so many characters that have half cows or half
Oh yeah.
cow ish type character. Like, look at what's his face from Youngblood, right? Or even
Oh,
like,
Shaft.
yeah, like, and Gambit has
Gambit's
a
got
half
it,
cowl ish thing. Like, yes, his full face is still visible, but
but
he has the thing that
it's still a cowl.
specifically
Yeah,
it blocks off not any part of the front of his face. It does like his jaw and his chin,
and then it
but it's
like
the whole
keeps the
back of his
hair
head,
out of his like
right?
eyes
Yeah.
too. Yeah, like it
It's the
does
whole
the
back of
front
his head
part.
and then leaves his hair going, right? And like that's cool to me. But the fact that and I actually considered doing more of like a Gambit-esque mask thing, but I was like, he's still a kid. He's still young. Like that would be incredibly dangerous and stupid to do, especially since I'm leaning in to the secret identity thing. So ultimately, I was like, you know what? Yeah, there's going to be people who are going to be like, "Oh, you just did Kid Flash."
Buh, 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 buh.
No, Kid Flash has a suit that looks like this. I don't know what Kid Flash that you've seen. Kid Flash is half yellow and half red.
And yeah, just oh, he has lightning, like your energy source or like makes your chest emblem glow. That's not just a Flash thing. Like every freaking person,
It's
it
Iron
like
Man.
it's Iron Man. It's like common writers and Sentai heroes do it all the time.
And in
It's
fact,
such a
I actually
nonsense.
the fact that I have the center logo glowing, that actually was because Iron Man. That's the reason
Oh,
why I
really?
did it. Yeah. Like initially I was like, I just need a cool looking logo. And I told Kanan because like I showed him the quote unquote Andrew sketch, right?
Yep.
And I was like, all right, man, like be honest with me. Like what do we need to change about this? And he was like, honestly, man, not much. He only made a few tweaks
That's crazy.
and one of them was the fact of the matter is I'm not a logo designer. I barely consider myself like an attempted artist to
Artist.
begin
Yeah.
with, right? And so all I had was just like a diamond shaped thing over the center of his chest because I was like, Kanan, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Please help
Oh,
me.
you were going New 52 Reverse Flash. No,
Oh, I wasn't
no.
even thinking that. Oh
Your man
God.
Brett Booth got into your head.
Oh, now I hate my life. Because shout out to Brett Booth, he's amazing, but like the diamond was just that I had no idea what to put there. And I
Which
was
is
like, Kanan,
completely fair. Which is
I was like,
completely
Kanan, this
fair.
cannot in any way, shape, or form be a lightning bolt going diagonally over his chest, please.
I want like it cannot be jagged. Like we cannot have all straight lines. Like we
Right?
I'm
Like, and
aware
I
here. Yeah.
absolutely refuse the like asymmetrical, like big lightning bolt across the chest because I hate that in
On
character
on,
designs.
on like I know you do.
Yeah, I know you
I
and I
just
disagree on this.
yeah. But it's also like we disagree, but I also completely understand why you say that because it
Yeah.
really hasn't been executed that well in comics.
Mhm.
Like Quicksilver's got his weird it's almost like a sash, right? And then
Yeah.
I know the other one is John Fox, the Flash of the year 1,000,000,
I hate
but
John Fox.
I know you do. He has like the whole suit is like a half bolt,
Mhm.
and that does look bad. I will give a little asterisk, and I know you remember this because I told you it. There's a recent issue of something where they introduce his own Kid Flash, and she has like the opposite bolt pattern on her suit. And when they're like
Mhm.
running next to each other, that looks cool. But
Well,
it's such a
that's kinda cool
situational,
conceptually.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a situational thing that I'm like, that's cool in concept. Go away,
Yeah, that's
John.
fair. Yeah, I will never respect John Fox. I can't stand the character.
The
Um,
Dorito spins.
oh man, like I hate those things. Like, and so another part of Zephyr's design that Kanan actually improved upon for me was the fins on his half cowl, the bolts.
Yep.
So I didn't want to do antennae because if it was antennae, then it was crossing into territory of like, okay, that's too much flash. Like I can't, I'm not doing that. But I
I
wanted to do
got you as
something.
Barry. Yeah.
I wanted to do something that was cool still, right? And so I was like, okay, like I designed the lightning bolt kind of fins, and they were a little shorter when I initially did them.
Hmm.
And then Kanan, like when he draws them, like here, and also like on my shirt, it's
Yep.
difficult to see right now. He makes them super long, and I love that. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Maybe you can see
Yeah, you
here
can. I think we can see it
where they're
here.
like from here to
There's enough.
here, right?
There's enough black between his like head and the fins.
And I love that because my favorite version of Batman's cowl is when the ears are like stupid long.
The Kelly Jones, man, like
Yeah.
it's my favorite too. Even if it doesn't make any sense,
No, it
I
makes
still really
absolutely no
I.
sense whatsoever.
It's
But I
such a
like it
cool look
anyway.
for
I don't
him.
care.
It's such a good look for him.
Yeah. And so I wanted to have some
And I see that
neat
here.
things that were
Yeah.
fun. So the kind of wing bolts that are on the feet parts of his suit, those are because I'm leaning into things like, Mercury or Hermes, right?
Hmm.
So, I'm trying to have some of
Classic
that
winged
classic,
sandals. Yeah.
exactly, like the classic mythological speedster energy. Um, put into the design. I thought long and hard about this design. So it's
Oh, I'm
it's
sure.
difficult to tell in this poster just because of
The way
Andrew
he's
Dahlhouse
posing
is
and stuff.
yeah, Andrew Dahlhouse is such an absolute coloring king that he um he plays with light very masterfully. So in actuality, a lot of the parts that are like the under part of his arm and then like his abdominal area,
Uh
like you
huh.
can see it better on my shirt, are black, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
you see
yeah,
the
yeah.
black on his underarm. It's the same thing for
Where is?
his abdominal area. And those parts, the way that I described to Kanan in terms of how they should look and feel are they get it. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I knew I had the full body around.
They're meant to have like a kind of a carbon fiber look to them. Because again, I was always trying to lean into things that people think of when they think speed, when they think fast, right? So you have like street racing cars or drift cars, right? And a lot of
Yeah,
those guys will put like carbon fiber on their whether it's just their
absolutely.
hood or
Yeah.
whether they'll put it all over the damn thing, right? Like whatever they end up doing, carbon fiber is very often associated with speed. And I wanted him to have kind of a sports car or an F1 racer feel to him. And one of those visual cues was like, okay, let's have something. It's not made of carbon fiber. Let me
Like,
tell you
yeah,
that. It's
yeah.
made of something entirely different, but I wanted it to look like it. The rest of the iridescent ish white parts of his suit
Hmm.
are much more of like a nanotech type material. And so it's always meant to be
Oh
shiny.
man, you. Okay, now I just gotta ask real quick. Did you does he have a cowl or is it all nanotech? Does he Spider Man it? Like does he Tom Holland Spider Man it or does he Andrew and Toby Spider Man it?
It so it's not a cloth. This is not cloth.
Right.
So
So
this would like the way that it would work is that it would like peel away type of a thing.
all right, I get it now. I'm just a big fan of like when Wally takes off his like
Mm.
cowl and he has like the
Oh,
full
me too.
mask hood like
I love that.
and
And in fact,
that's why
some of my
I
favorite like panels are when
yeah.
Wally or even Barry like takes off the hood and you see
Oh,
the whole thing
dude,
there and a good
one of my
artist will like
favorite
have it there and you'll still
one
see
of
the
my
wings.
favorite panels is from Justice League or JLA Year One, where they're all meeting before they go fight Starro,
Mhm.
and
Oh, yeah.
Barry's like, what can you do, Black Canary?" And she's like, "I don't know. What do these do?" And she like grabs his like fins and like kind of like spins his mask a little bit and like sets it ajar. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. And so I'm not critical of it. I was more surprised just because
No,
I
that's
do know
okay.
you love that. And I'm like, oh, what? You went
Well,
with
and
that over
honestly,
that?
it's because I love it that I
That you
didn't go
wanted
with
to
that.
avoid it. Yeah,
Because
that
that's the
actually
thing.
makes a lot of sense.
I'm trying to balance things here where it's like
Oh yeah.
I'm already leaning into my inspirations and wearing them on my sleeve, right? Literally in some cases.
Yeah,
Like
check that out.
I and so I'm trying to pick my battles and say, okay, what are some of the things that at least I can do to where it's like, well, that's different. Like that's not what that other character that was clearly part of this character's DNA and inspiration and homage, right? Like that's nothing like that, right? So
Right.
as much as I do genuinely love the whole I even think, shoot, I'll even think back to like the CW, right? To some of the first instances of Barry pulling
I
off the
can't
hood.
believe, I still can't believe they did that. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, right. Where he pulls it off is like, my name's Barry Allen. I'm the Flash, right? Like I'll think, shoot, no, not even in the Flash show. It was Supergirl season
Hmm.
1, episode 18, right? World's Finest, where
Yep.
like he comes to Kara's world, right? And he reveals himself, like he pulls off the cowl, and it's just, I don't know, there's an iconic imagery to that. I love it. It's
Hmm.
fun. But because of that, at least in part, I was like, I'm really, my goal is not to just do the Rippaverse versions of the Flash, right? I'm
Right.
doing the Rippaverse's Speedster,
And
and
that
he has some
completely, yeah.
inspiration from the Flash, right?
But
So
you know,
it's
kind of
having to
like,
pick some of my battles.
that's exactly what I was kind of going to say. It's you know, you can have one or two things, but because you know who you are and you know your inspirations, like it's something we all have to be conscious about, right, guys? Because like
Yeah,
you could easily just go, look at this character, isn't it great? And you go, that's Batman without the ears. Oh, bitch! Like shit. Oh, crap! Right?
right.
So like, you know, that's, and I mean, check that out. That didn't even come to my mind, but that's the smart way of looking at it.
Hmm.
So, uh, on that note, I want to ask, sort of looking to the future of Blue Shift. I know nothing is confirmed, but how are things looking? Can you give us any sort of read about like did Ripazine #5 sell well for you guys? Did it do not so well? I mean, you probably wouldn't admit that, but
It it well,
any
I'm
thermometer?
thankfully I don't have to worry about admitting that because it sold very well. Like we're
Nice.
in terms of sales, like sales is not the issue when it comes to the future of Blue
Oh,
Shift,
absolutely not. Yeah.
right? Thankfully, and thank you so much. Whether it's somebody who's in the chat in support of the zine, or somebody who sees the VOD of this afterwards, if you supported it, thank you so much because one of the things that was definitely highly talked about was like this is doing very very well, like surprisingly well, especially the fact that again I'm a nobody. Like nobody knows who the heck I am. Nobody knows me from Adam. So thank you for that. It really all comes down to what the fans' response is to it afterwards. Like, can this guy actually write? Can he write a story that's fun? Like, he created a character that at least looks cool. Like, that is, I will say that. You know what? I will give myself a partial pat on the
Finally,
back.
Jesus.
I'll give myself a partial pat on the back for the fact that I at least designed and created a character that people seem to connect with, right? That seem to enjoy or be excited for. Like we just recently launched, I say we, I created them.
Salute.
Our Rippaverse spoiler slash theory forums in our official Discord channel,
Which I
official
didn't even
Discord
know
server.
Discord could do forums. That's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
it's not like threads, guys. Like Andrew showed me a screenshot. It's a full blown like inside Discord forum. It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it's actually pretty rad.
Yeah.
I spent a weekend kind of figuring out how to do it, and then I just did it. And so I created spoiler slash theory threads for every single one of our titles that we have. And I wound up creating one for Blue Shift because people have been talking about it a lot, and it immediately blew up and is
That's awesome.
our currently highest interacted one. And that's not me trying to gas myself up. That just to me that's something to be grateful for because people are clearly excited for the characters, and I hope that I don't let them down when they actually read the story because they like the character's design. There's been a lot of theorizing. Like I said, Joshua Ignatowski, who also posted, what was it, 14 questions in the AMA today
Which
on
was incredible, guys.
boundingintocomics.com, which
Yes.
was fun. Thank you so much for interacting. That was a
Thank you
lot
guys.
of
Yeah,
fun.
thank you guys for hanging out with Andrew earlier today. You know, obviously for him to, you know, get that support, but also for us because that was the very first AMA we've ever done. And I know that I'm well aware of this. It's something I'm currently working on. I know there's no visibility on those forums, guys. I know Andrew didn't even know. Andrew and
I
I are
didn't even
close
know you
friends.
guys had
I
forums.
talk to you every day, and you had no idea that this even existed. And I went, yeah,
No
I
idea.
know. I don't even know it exists. But
We'll get some more visibility on them.
yeah,
I'll start
we'll
shouting
get
them out.
there. But yeah, definitely thanks to you guys. Like that was super awesome to see the turnout. But
Yeah.
I also think, like, I know you're being a bit modest because that's just who you are. But when you say, oh, it really comes down to the fan feedback, that's what's really going to matter about this. Yes, of course, obviously. But I think the fact that it's sold well on, like, just on that metric alone. I mean, you guys sold this on the Blue Shift issue, right? Like,
Mhm.
yes, it has that Zachary Levi story, but that kind of like got like, I didn't see as much motion on that, right? Like from fans. Obviously, you guys blasted it out a bunch, but like not a lot of discussion compared to what I was seeing out of Blue Shift. So I think, like, at the very least, this is, I would say, like, it's positive because even if, they go, yeah, we were really excited and the story didn't turn out very well. The fact that you were the main selling point and they said, all right, I'll try it out. Eric goes, all right, that didn't work. Try again. Right. So like,
Yeah.
I want to be optimistic that there's more Blue Shift coming down
So
the
do I.
pipe.
I would love for, because I already have so much work done already. Like I already know that there would be, because a couple of like minor things that have happened since I wrote those other arcs,
Yeah.
those two arcs, like there would be just a couple of things that have to tweak, and they'd be super easy tweaks to make.
Just like a
Um,
location change, or like a word location change. Like,
or
oh,
swapping out a character just to make sure that I'm remaining within our
yep.
current continuity, because that's important to me. And like his, if he were to get greenlit, like if Eric were to say, I'm greenlighting Blue Shift for an ongoing tomorrow, right? Like those ongoings, those first two arcs, that takes play in present day
Right.
Rippaverse, right? So alongside, within, whatever day or week variants as the other books that we have going on. So I want to make sure that I'm being very diligent about respecting the current continuity that's being laid out by all these other writers that have far more tenure and experience and notoriety than I do, right? Like, I'm definitely not trying to step on Chuck Dixon's toes. I want Chuck Dixon to be like, hey, um, you mind if I like snag that character just for even if it's just a cameo? Right? Even just a cameo. If Chuck Dixon's like,
Th-
I wanna have a fun little quick cameo interaction
yeah.
between Blue Shift and Horseman, I would
I
scream.
was just about to say, if that came down the pipe, you would lose your fucking
I
mind.
would
Like,
I would die, and that would be an automatic green light. I would be like, "Yes, you absolutely may," right? Because that also means that freaking Joe freaking Bennett would be drawing at least one panel of my character.
of
And
Blue
let me
Shift,
tell you, the prospect of that is amazing. It's already incredible enough that I had Kane and White
which is
draw
so
my
cool.
t-shirt, my poster, and have freaking Marcos Martins color the shirt and Andrew Dollhouse color the poster, as well as like
That's so wild.
I commissioned, and most people haven't seen it, but I think you're one of the few people that have the initial promo piece that I commissioned Kanan and
Yeah.
Andrew. I think like you, Mary, and like maybe a couple other
And
people,
like Eric,
including
maybe.
including like my parents, right, have seen the initial promo piece that I commissioned
This is
Kanan
more
and Andrew
yeah, than the
Dollhouse
Andrew
to do.
sketch.
Right? Yeah, no, dude, like this, it's still to date as amazing as the shirt looks, as amazing as the poster looks.
So
It's
cool.
my favorite piece because just what it means to me, because it was the first time
Absolutely.
that I had like a real professional, like really official looking piece of the character I designed. This was after like I had finished talking with Kanan about like, okay, so what are like the tweaks that you would make and things like that. And man, that piece is so special to me. It means so much. Maybe one of these days I'll like share a like semi high quality version of it online. But right now,
You
like
got to do no. You got to do the
I have a
thing.
one of one poster of it right now. So
Have you seen this? Have you seen, like, when Clint Eastwood posts anything on the internet, like a photo, and
no.
when
Does he know how to
it's
work the internet?
I don't think so, because and this is my point to it, because when Clint Eastwood posts like a photo, right? Like, it's him, a selfie with his daughter. The
Yeah.
entire photo has like property of Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, do not reproduce. Clint Eastwood, for inquiries, like, contact Clint Eastwood, and it's got like a big black disclaimer on the bottom that's like, this is the official property of the Clint Eastwood estate. Like, any reproduction, and I'm just like,
That is amazing.
You didn't have to share the photo if you didn't want to. Like, good
That
God.
that's funny. That is genuinely funny.
So wait, you have like the actual like print of it, like the original art of it too?
Yeah. Well,
That's the
no,
coolest.
well, so Kanan works
Oh, oh,
digitally.
right, digitally.
So
Duh.
like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I have the high res version of just his line work on that, but then I have the high res of Andrew Dollhouse's colors over it. And then I
So cool.
have a one of one poster that I is literally like from where I'm at in my desk. I get to look directly at that one of one poster of
Is
that
it
piece that they
signed?
made. No, it's not. But if one of
What the
these
fuck?
days
The
I
creator's
can
such a
get
stingy asshole.
if one of these days I can get both Kanan and Andrew Dollhouse out to a convention and get them to sign it, I will.
I
If Blue Shift like blows up enough to where I can afford to just fly him out my damn self,
I
then
like
I'll do
how
that.
I like how they present it as like, oh, I have to go through all these leaps and bounds as if there's not going to be like a Rippaverse company picnic like next year or something, and you'll be like, oh, I'll just bring it here.
Yeah, but I understand some people are freaking antisocial like me, and I don't like being around people.
Yeah, but this isn't a convent. This is work. If Eric says you come and have a family day at our picnic, you have to
Yeah,
come and have a family
then
day
there's
at our
that
picnic.
because the boss said so. That is true. That is
All
true.
right. We have a couple questions or a couple notes from the crowd. The first
Yeah,
is
let's hear
actually
him.
kind of on that note from Eric. Masta Punk, shout out to Masta, says, say Eric tells you that Zephyr must face Chadron. Now what?
I would ask Eric why he wants to kill my character.
That kind of does seem like a bit of
Just
an unfair fight.
just shout out to Philip Burnett, Philip Space. He is an artist that submitted so many fantastic pieces to our various art contests. The piece that he's been working on for our current Rippaverse creator season massive art contest. So we're
Yeah,
doing like content
currently going right
creation,
now.
we're
Yep.
doing art, we're doing music composition as well. Like he submitted a piece that's exactly that. It's Blue Shift versus Shadran. And I remember seeing, I was like, this is
Really?
amazing, but why are you trying to kill my character?
That's like putting Irie up against like Zod, like
Yeah.
kind of on that power scaling level.
Yeah. It kind of like that, honestly. But it was super cool to see. So guys, if you're artists,
Yeah, this
take a
I forgot
crack
to.
at it. Obviously, it goes till the 6th, I believe. So you got less than 2 weeks left to go.
Yeah,
So depending on how quick you are with your either content, your composition, or your art, like that might be a very tight time constraint. But we've been trying to blast that out almost every day since we started it. Huge shout out to everybody that is taking the time to like put energy into the creativity into creating something for our contests. Like that's a big thing. Like people who are creatives and you have any level of talent, whether it's on an illustrative side, whether it's on music composition, whether it's on content creation, because I'm not good at that. Like I'm not even a YouTuber. I can't do this crap.
guys, he literally had to ask. Like, he reached out to me the other day, and he's like, "Can you explain this team like money dollar thing?" And I was like,
I,
"Really?" And you're like,
I don't
"Yeah." So,
I don't know how it works, man. Like I don't understand. However, I understand that there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. And we sincerely appreciate anybody that has done that for our contest. Because obviously you could submit yourself to an art contest and you're drawing Batman or you're drawing Spider-Man, right? Like, but you chose to do it for us. And so thank you. Like that's incredibly, incredibly um humbling.
I do like that you guys put participation is open to everyone, and it's not a job
Yeah.
application. Like
Yeah,
like
like just you might have a banger piece. It doesn't mean we're gonna put you on as a full-time employee.
and that's not like an insult or anything. Like, that's just covering their asses, and that makes me
Yeah.
smile because it. Trust us, guys. That can lead to so many problems. I mean, it's happened to me over at Bounding. They go, "Hey, can I send a test piece?" And I go, "Yeah, here's some feedback. Try again." And then they go, "When do I start?" And I go, "That
Like what?
that wasn't what happened here.
Yeah, that's not how it works, buddy. That's not how the force works.
That's not how the Force works." I still hate that they like the Jedi. A Jedi blew up the Death Star and saved the universe like 20 years ago. How are you going like the Jedi are true? Like,
The Jedi are a myth, right? Do they actually exist?
it's
Like,
true, all of it. Like, no shit. Like, Get out of here.
Consistency in writing is hard, guys.
It
It's
it
or at least,
clearly is.
some studios would have us believe that.
All right, we have another one from Susanu, more of a general Rippa question. Are there any plans on doing graphic novels? He still regularly reads those. I know you guys do. I know your single issues are kind of fatter, but
I
not
was gonna
quite
say, like,
graphic novel status.
the way we tend to do it is if something is intended as a one shot, just to kind of like test the waters, it will typically be something like maybe around 80 to 90 pages, right? So that's more
Yeah,
like a graphic novel length, right?
that
Or
was like
close
your
to a
first
graphic novel
Horseman
length.
one, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Horseman,
Horseman
welcome to
Volume
Florist
One,
Park.
one, and now it's Horseman Volume Two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Horseman, Welcome to Florist Park was a, I believe, 90-page graphic novel.
I think 90.
Whereas Horseman, the ongoing, is typically between like 45 and 50 pages.
See, that's when I knew
Um,
you guys were a real comic. Like you had finally made it as a comic book company, where you're like, no, 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 that's not part of the series. That's its own volume. This is and I'm like, oh yeah, they're here. Here we go. Here we fucking go.
you
Where's
would
Rippa
get it.
Wiki? Is there a Rippa Wiki yet?
So there was a fan wiki
That's what.
I
Yeah,
know that was being worked on.
I in my mind, I was imagining it as a fan thing. Not you
Yeah,
guys were way fucking.
there was a fan wiki that was being worked on for a while, but obviously, like, fan wikis, you don't get paid to work on a fan wiki, right? Like, you do that
You
with your
really
own free
don't.
time. And so sometimes people have other things going on in their lives where it's like, hey, I need to prioritize my actual real life out of the internet, right?
And
Which I would
that
encourage everybody to do.
always,
Uh,
guys. I know you and I both have specific like we're not going on the internet today. Like we'll play video
yeah,
games, we'll be on our computer, but like if you and I want to talk, we text because we're like it's
there'll be
no internet
weekends where it's like I'm not opening Discord, I'm not
like
like going on
nothing.
Twitter. I am just like, if I need to communicate with somebody, if I'll text or call Mary, I'll text you. Like,
Right.
I'm not dealing with the internet today because I need to disconnect, right? And so that's
And
important. That's crucial. I would
also like
encourage everybody to do that every
to
now and
that
then.
point too, another thing that makes it hard, right? Aside from just the time, is like you guys don't have like digital copies, right? Like you don't have a big
Correct.
so it's not like, oh, what happened in Horseman number one? Somebody shared a page. I can put that in now. Like they have to
Mm.
go, I gotta go buy it, which is great. But obviously, guys, and I know the Rippaverse understands this. You guys say it all the time. Money is tight. We all know you can't buy. Maybe you can't buy everything. Maybe you just like
Yeah.
pick one or two. So like, I totally get that. It seems like something that somebody would want to throw out there.
No, it's absolutely true. And, maybe down the line, I don't know when, maybe down the line, there's an opportunity for a digital distribution model that makes sense for us right now. Because the fact of the matter is, when you do digital, and we understand this,
Yep.
um, when you do digital, you open yourself up to piracy super easy. It doesn't matter what encryptions you have on your Marvel Unlimited or your DC Universe app, people will rip it and they will post it. Like,
And I mean that
day
even goes
one.
for like indie things, right? Like I I know for a fact every single like Common America, the iconic comics
Mhm.
team, they always send out like ahead of the physical book. They go, here's
Uh-huh.
a PDF copy, and it's got watermarks. Still gets out there. Like
Yeah.
I know right now, if you wanted to, you could go. You as an individual could go find every Common America story, and
Mhm.
that's an indie thing, right? So it makes sense. It's a smart business model. It's also a risky one,
Yeah.
admittedly, but I think eventually when all the dust is settled, there's going to be like some class Eric can teach there, right? Like this is how we manage to not screw up that practice.
I think there's a balance to be found, and a lot of it, I think, comes down to just how large of an audience you have, because you look at DC and Marvel, and obviously they're owned by mega corporations,
Right.
and so they can afford their comics are already a loss leader for them.
I
So
was just about to say, guys, like the comics don't profit for them. That's not the point of
they
it.
don't profit and they don't care. They're
They
IP
really
farms,
don't.
and
They
they're like,
really
"Hey, we can somehow adapt 25% of this into a TV series or a movie, right? Or to merch." And that's where they actually profit, right? They're actually going to profit off of the merch.
Yep.
Whereas indies don't have that benefit, right? Of the backing
No.
of mega
I mean,
corporations,
even like Image,
nor
right?
yeah, honestly,
God bless them. They're still
absolutely.
indie.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, they are certainly compared to DC and Marvel, right? And so it's a tricky balance, I think, to strike. I hope will find it, because I do know that there are people we have fans who are in other countries outside of the US who want to
That's really
keep up with
cool.
everything that we're doing, but it
But it's
just
hard, obviously. Yeah.
even with the fact that we have what we call Rippaverse International, and so we have
You do?
special shipping deals with
Oh, okay.
certain
I thought it was a whole like I thought you had like a local printing
not
imprint
yet.
thing, and I was like, "Whoa, what?" But
Not yet. Hopefully we'll
but it's
get there. Hopefully we'll
yeah,
get
yeah,
there.
yeah. But this is just like a special
It's a
shipping.
special shipping deal to where it's a flat, like super low shipping rate. I forget what the dollar number is because I don't deal with it. That's
Yeah,
Brandon and the warehouse's thing.
yeah,
But like it's like demonstrably cheaper than what you would normally see from typical international shipping for a book. And it only is for books only at present, because like you start to break it down to like what does it look like for posters and shirts and things like that. It's a whole other beast to like try and mess with that. But right now, at least for the books, we have Rippaverse International. And so that provides an outlet and an opportunity for our international fans and customers to still get in on the books. But even then, one, because of how those deals work out, it ships out less frequently.
yep,
I forget how many times a month it is, but it's not like it's in like typically. So if somebody puts in an order and it's for something that we already have in warehouse, is already ready to go, ready to ship, and they live anywhere within the continental US, right? That's getting boxed up and shipped. Like as long as it's within working hours that the warehouse team
uh-huh,
sees that order, they're shipping it out right away. They're tossing it into the bin. That's like, all right, this goes out when FedEx or USPS or UPS
yeah,
show up
like the next
in
tomorrow
an
or
hour or
actually, yeah,
tomorrow or
yeah, they
whatever,
pick up at night, yeah,
right? And so they do that. So we try to ship out orders very quickly. That's something that our fans have been very like positive and praising us over, right? But Reverse International is a different beast, and that's how we're able to balance that like cheaper shipping rate, right?
yeah,
So there's always a give and take, right? And
yep,
so if you want things like right away, and then if you want them fast on top of that, because obviously international shipping takes longer to get to you, if you want it quicker, man, like that skyrockets, and I understand.
yeah,
Like it's
oh
hard
yeah,
to look at a book that like I paid $18 for the book, but then I paid like $25 or $30
God,
for the shipping, right? And it's like, dude, I get it. Like I can't even be mad that you're
no,
like, I
no,
can't justify that. That's fair. That's completely fair. And so a digital model, if we can make that work at some point in the near future, I think that would be super helpful, especially for those international fans specifically,
yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
because then they wouldn't have to worry about either the time or the expense part of it.
you bring up that like the international audience, and now I'm like really excited. Like I want to see Horseman, Blue Ship, like Panini Comics releases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
distributor for everything over in Europe, guys, and like
Yeah.
that would be very very cool someday.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, there's this comment that I wanted to point to, but yeah, Susanu says he prefers reading comics like physically instead
I do
of
too.
digitally. I do too. I think everybody does. There is I if you've watched I've mentioned this here and there over streams before, but if I put on my pretentious hat and go back to college, there's a whole actual like theory thinking thing about tactile versus like digital and how it interacts with the human experience. It's a lot,
Mhm.
and you're all gonna just call me gay, rightfully.
I
So
mean, I'm going to
maybe
call you that regardless, but that's
exactly,
because we're
exactly,
friends.
exactly. But so maybe I'll get to do it on a Mav stream someday. But no, you're completely right. That is a big thing. I mean, that's why physical books still sell, even
Mhm.
though we all have a reader right here in our. I mean, I read comics on my phone all the time. What was I reading last? Dark Knight's Metal when it pops up, right? There we go. Boom.
Oh,
And it's like,
that's right. You have been rereading that. Yeah.
yeah. And so like it's great. I'm reading it, but then like Andrew, you know this, right? Like when we get a new compact in or a book, we like sit down, we go, oh, this is cool. And we just start reading. Even
Hmm.
though we've read the story a million times, we don't necessarily want to read it right then. It's just something about in like having it there. So you're not completely off base, Susanu.
Yeah.
All right. So before as we wrap up here, I want to sort of go a little more broad. Let the people, get to know you a little bit more. So
Sure.
first off, uh, what is one thing right now in the world of comic books that you are particularly stoked on? Is there anything you're reading? Any new characters? Any new releases? Anything? And even doesn't even have to be out yet. Just something that you've been thinking about.
So I've been preaching and sharing the good news about the current Witchblade reboot for a while now.
Yes.
And so I've got so I actually grabbed a copy for since Caro invited me to
Oh yeah, Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Thanksgiving, I'm gonna give her a copy of this. But I've got that. I've got the first 2 trades of that. I've got all the single issues of it so far. I have
He does.
almost all of the variant covers,
Well,
including some retailer exclusive variant covers.
you've got the Art Germ Comic Con exclusive too, the foil
I
one,
do.
which is like
And I've
it's
got a
it's easily
CGC of
one of
that
the
one coming at some point
it's
whenever
easily
whenever
one
he
of the
ships those
prettiest
out.
pieces he's ever done. Like
It's absolutely
insanely
stunning.
good. Wow.
Absolutely stunning. But the interiors of the book are beautiful. The story is fantastic. It's a great balance between taking almost the exact premise and the characters from the original 90s run and then like making very slight tweaks. And when I say slight tweaks, guys, I mean like
Yes.
you read this, if you had read the 90s one, you still recognize the characters. You still know
Yep.
what's going on, right? They're just making enough tweaks just so it doesn't feel like you're literally reading the same book. Because at
Like
that point, just read the 90s one, right? If it's
and
literally the same thing.
and it's also sort of updating the writing from 90s style, not in the sense of like they're desexifying it or censoring it, but things like
No, they definitely don't do that.
like oh like peep this or whatever, right? Like we got to get
Yeah.
in the station wagon. It's like, hey, I'll call you. Get in the car.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, like and
Correct.
I can attest to that too because I've read the like part of the original Witchblade and I've read like the first couple issues of this reboot, and I'm like, yeah, that's Sarah and Michael and the guy I always forget his name, the guy with the sword. Ian, is that him? Right?
Yeah, Ian Nottingham. Yeah.
Nottingham. Okay, yeah, I did get him right.
He's badass in he was already badass in the original, but he's super badass in the reboot because they kept his design almost identical. The only difference is they wound up giving him a beard as well. And
Which
for some
kind of
reason
works.
it makes him look like super hard, like super badass. And it's like, man, I respect that
And he
artistic
already
change
was,
right there.
right? Like he was
Yeah.
already that silent, like I'm just gonna show up and kick your ass type of guy. And
Yeah.
that just takes it to like the next level.
So
All
that
right?
and then I think the other thing would be Jeremy Adams' Aquaman, especially after if you
Yes.
guys haven't checked it out, I'm gonna blank right now on the name of the YouTube channel.
I will find it
He
because
did an interview. What was it, yesterday or the day before?
the day before.
Yeah, day
So
before,
Monday?
and it was
Yeah,
a
Monday.
super fun interview that Jeremy Adams did, talking comics, talking stories that he's told, talking stories that he wants to tell. It was very insightful. It was a lot of fun. Like Spencer and I were like DMing back and forth, like as the stream was going, like, oh, like he mentioned that, right?
Like,
Like, and getting
no,
super
yeah,
excited over it because we're fans of his work. And he currently has, I think, the most underrated book in the mainstream right now
I
because
actually
his
agree with that.
Aquaman is genuinely fantastic. And so I'm just really looking forward to seeing where he goes from here.
And it's so
Because he's added a
interesting.
lot to it.
I'm still so surprised it's flying under the radar, kind of like it is, because it's Jeremy Adams.
It really shouldn't be.
It really like it's Jeremy Adams, who's one of their bigger writers over there right now.
Mhm.
It is Aquaman, who is enjoying. I know we're years removed from the movies, but he's still enjoying sort of that popularity boost that he got from.
He's far
Jason
more of a
Momoa.
mainstream character now than he ever was before.
Right.
Like, thanks to that that first Aquaman film and even the follow-up that did like okay. It mostly has some like good interaction.
It did okay by like DCEU standard, like superhero movie standards, but it also did that at a time when like this shit is done. Like we don't even want it, right? Like,
That's
they were kind of throwing
That's
it.
True.
I'm not a big fan of those movies, but as you and I always say, right? Like credit where credit is due. People latched onto that one.
Yeah.
Where I have his page right here. Why won't you let me share it? StreamYard. It is. Oh, that's why. Because it's doing the. I got to put it into that Rippaverse window. Bum bum bum. Yeah. All right, guys. So if you want to check out that interview, it was really good. He really gets into like
a fun interview.
He gets into everything. He even like I wouldn't say like airs dirty laundry, but he definitely makes his like feelings known about like this storyline sucked. This was not something I was super happy about.
Yeah,
that's
true.
There you go. There's me, and then I know you're in here somewhere. There, yeah. I think by the end of this interview, it was just you and me like yelling at Jeremy Adams.
That's true. Like, I think we had the most messages in that chat by
Oh,
far.
if we were like, if he had like the rankings on, we would easily be like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
top one and top two chatter of his entire stream. Uh,
easily.
and then there's also, just before we move on, like the other factor about Aquaman is like it's directly involved in DCKO. Like all of
It
the
is.
and the absolute stuff, like it's from issue one. So I'm very, very shocked that it's flying under the radar in the way it is.
And the art's beautiful. Aside
Oh
from
yeah,
the trident.
Tim. I don't know why you're so bad at drawing.
Everything else he draws is amazing and
And like
beautiful.
here's
And then
the
for
thing,
whatever reason, the trident just seems
we wouldn't be
super
too
basic.
bothered by like the basic trident because it is just like staff, 3 prongs, okay, like kind of like the generic cartoon devil trident. And we wouldn't normally be mad about that, except for the fact that in this run, they specifically go, here's a new super badass trident that has like interlocking mechanisms and can turn into a sword.
It turns into a sword, which is cool.
And all he really does to like communicate that is he puts like the pulp or like the what do you call it? Like the hilt cover.
Yeah.
Midway through the the staff. And it's like, what are we doing here? And then what's his whoever did, like, there was a guest artist recently, and then I know John Boy did that cover, and they at least made it shine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they made it look golden.
No, that's
and
exactly
glowing.
who it was. It was the John Boy Myers variant.
Yeah,
and you were like, wait a second, this looks. That was actually like, that was why we spent like 2 hours going through John Boy Myers' website.
Right. Oh, that's
because the visuals that he did on that cover were just out of control.
Yeah, I mean, John Boy is just even like, me. I'm coming into the cult now, but like that man, once you like get into his work and you see like his techniques and how he angles things, it's just. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's Filipino, and I'm pretty sure I want to kick his ass. Like there can only be, and that's just a natural reaction. That's what happens when two Filipinos see each other, like dogs, right? Go, no, you can't be successful. I'm the only successful one. All right, and so that's comic books. On that note, what's one thing just in general in life that you were stoked about? A personal event, a movie, a holiday coming up. What are you jazzed about right now? Just in life. And Blue Shift doesn't count.
Okay, that's fair. That's fine. We've been talking about Blue Shift enough for one stream.
That's fair. Not the fact that I don't want to hear about him anymore. It's that I know damn well you're thankful or like you're stoked on him.
I am. I'm really grateful for the potential of the future right now. I think there's a growing number of people who are really trying to focus on the positive. And that's really important because, guys, here's the thing. I mean, I've been in this general sphere since about 2017.
Yep. Both of us.
And there's been a lot of crap that's happened to a lot of the IPs that we love, right? I think everybody could acknowledge that. That being
if you'd
said,
have gone back in time and told my 7-year-old self, you will fucking hate Star Wars to the point where you don't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed. I would have like cried first of all, being like, "Who is this strange man?" But then I would have just not believed you or believed me.
And that's fair. And honestly, me at the same age would have agreed with you. I would have been like, "What are you talking about?"
Like,
I freaking love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the freaking Jedi Apprentice light novels were my bread and butter. Dude, right, of young, like 13-year-old Obi-Wan training with Qui-Gon. Like those books were my jam.
Do you remember the original Thrawn stuff was in like I think it was a Jedi Adventures series, like the Grand Admiral Thrawn stuff, and I ate that shit up all the time as a kid. Like I remember specifically there's like that story where like Vader's glove falls into the ocean or something, and Thrawn wants to go get it because he thinks it has power, and then they like get it. And Thrawn's like, are you kidding me? And it's one of those things where like he doesn't admit he was wrong. He kind of is just like, all right, we're going home. Like we're leaving. Like, let the rebels go. We're going home. It's like, yeah, you got shit kicked.
Exactly. And so with that in mind, we spent the better part of the last, we'll say decade. It's a little less than a decade, but let's just say decade to make it easy. Being inundated with a lot of negativity because there was a lot of crap that was being put out by the mainstream. However, I think across games, comics,
I would say, kind of across the board.
even movies as well, like a growing I can't say TV because I don't watch TV, and I even though I have a couple of streaming services, I
Yeah, I
very
know.
rarely
Me
actually
neither.
use them. So I can't speak to that. I know there have been plenty of streaming, shows over the
I
last
hear
decade that people
like
have loved.
everything that comes out on Apple TV, I hear is actually incredible, and I believe it
Mm,
because like they have the talent and the money. I
yeah.
just like who like they never advertise it. Like I have a friend and she's always like, "Oh, have you watched this show? This show?" And I'm like, "Where? Like, what are these? What are you even talking
Uh,
about?" And she's like, "Oh, it was on Apple Plus like last month." And I'm like,
you're like,
"You
"I'll
are."
watch that."
I'm like, "You are too fancy to be my friend if you're like exclusively reading like Apple Plus." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so we've reached a point within the last couple of years, I think, at least safely the last couple
yeah,
of years, where we're
definitely.
starting to see an increase and a return to quality. And part of that is like with the amount of time that it takes to actually put into production a lot of these types of things, a lot of it's done years in advance, right?
Yeah,
Especially if it's on the gaming side, sometimes it's several years in advance, right? And so it takes a little while to get caught up to your audience if you're actually trying to course correct. And I think some studios are. And I think we're seeing that because we're seeing some good stuff come out. Obviously, that's not to say that everything is sunshine and rainbows and
oh no,
sugar cookies, because there's still a lot of crap out there. Like we go to our LCS every single week, and there's still books where it's like, man, there's still some books that are rough.
like, oh
But
wow, Supergirl is still being published right now.
oh gosh, yeah, that was the hurtful one.
So
That
so
that and
hopeful.
that and Exceptional
Ap-
X-Men were the ones that
and
hurt me the most.
well, Absolute Flash. I just don't know if you've
Oh,
fully
and that
accepted
too.
one yet.
I'm yeah, it's
Like
painful.
you know it,
It's
but you
painful.
haven't accepted it yet. Yeah.
But the fact is, there is still good stuff to enjoy if you are allowing yourself to be intellectually honest enough to recognize, okay, yes, this studio put out a lot of crap that either pissed me off or just didn't like over the last several years. But now there is stuff that is actually good again. And you have to be able to do
Yeah.
both. You have to be able to call out when something sucks genuinely and still recognize when things are done well. And I know that's what we hone in on for our foil variant
Yep.
podcast. That's I know what you hone in
Our
on when
mission
you're doing
statement.
articles for Bounding into Comics. So shout out to y'all for that. Because I know there's been a huge uptick in both quality and readership since that's been like
And you know
the kind
what?
of driving
It's
force.
led to us, with that uptick, it's constantly been an upward thing. So like
Yeah.
it's to your point, right? Like I think a lot of people do want I think it's people are tired, right, guys? Like yes, over this past decade, there was a lot of stuff that was bad, like Andrew said. But if you're just focusing on that all the time, you get beaten
Mhm.
down. You get worn out. You just go, what's the point anymore?
Yeah.
And that doesn't help us, right? Like, don't let them win in that sense. Still highlight things that you like, whether it's old or new. There's a bunch of old video games and comics you and I read that were like, oh
Hmm.
wow, we didn't get to this, but holy crap, this is amazing. So yeah, like I share that optimism. I think it's just we can still talk about the bad guys, but now like
Yeah.
I think people are
It doesn't
over
mean we
like
have to start praising every single thing that comes out like it's the greatest thing ever. No,
and I
that's
think
intellectually dishonest too.
exactly. But I also think like just the era of everybody is uploading a new video every hour about, oh, I hate the Last Jedi. Nobody cares anymore. Like it's
Yeah, we
it's
don't
tired,
care.
right?
Like, look, guys, we all hate The Last Jedi. It's over. It's all been everything that can be said about that movie has been said. Probably
Well,
100 times.
yeah. I was gonna say like Adam Driver threw that new like matchstick on it where he was like, oh yeah, after Last Jedi, I wanted to do that my solo uh Ben Solo movie, but
Oh
Disney
yeah.
said no for no reason. But that's also like, okay, we've already talked about that now. Now we're over the Last Jedi again.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I share that optimism. I think a lot of people do, given that they're here, they're checking you out, they're checking us out. But I think we've probably hit about the hour and a half limit, 2 hour limit. We've been going for a while. I think it's
Mhm.
about time to wrap up. Say goodbye to the good folks. Andrew, what do you want to promote to everybody? What do you want them to know? What am I bringing up? What do you want them to take away from our hanging out today?
So I want to promote a handful of things. One of which obviously is Blue Shift Tryouts. You can check that out. Rippaverse number 5. That, as I was at least told last week, was leaving the printer today to
Oh
start
wow,
shipping to our warehouse. So at some point next week, I should be signing the signed copies to have those sent out to CGC for the
And you
12
can, and we
people
can
or
still,
whatever.
and folks can still buy the issue of
Absolutely.
Ripazine, right?
You can absolutely still buy the copies there. Um, so thank you so much to anybody that supported that. I'm really looking forward to getting feedback from our readership as far as what they thought of it. Hopefully they got something positive out of it and they enjoyed it. But if there were things about it you didn't enjoy, let me know. Like let me know on
Oh yeah.
Discord, Twitter, whatever. Like
I
I'm
also
happy
meant
to have
to
a conversation.
I also meant to ask this earlier. Like how much like what would you say is the response rate to your like post release surveys? Because I know it's a lot, but I also like I just want to know because I'm curious because I know a lot of those don't really go anywhere from me having run them in various industries and stuff. So I'm just like how much do you guys get?
So
I want to be impressed.
I forget the exact number, but we do send them specifically. So for the email service that we use, we can parse out and segment out the emails that we send to specific groups.
Ah,
So when it comes to the Ripazine surveys, we send them specifically to people who ordered the Ripazine, right?
right.
Because we want to have a reliable pool to pull from, right? We want to have reliable data. We don't want it skewed one way or another because you could put out a poll on Twitter, right? And you're going to have whether it's like people who are already mega fans of you or people who are
Or
detractors of you,
or even
right?
just somebody who's like scrolling by and they're like, I don't know. I've
Exactly.
voted in random polls that I don't care about just because I'm doom scrolling through my Twitter feed.
Yeah, and so since we wanna make data-based
Yeah, that's not
decisions, and that's something that I learned in marketing and in business, you wanna make data-based decisions based on your target demographic. We send those specifically to the people that actually bought the thing, and, we've had fantastic response thus far for the previous ones that we've done, and very helpful data helpful insofar as
right.
we've actually made changes and pivots for future issues based on the data that we've received because it was significant enough in number and was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
What? You
That's
didn't
what
just
enough
say
people
nope, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are never getting back together. Fuck off.
dude,
It's
it's
we're on
only
year
like
30
three
of this.
people. It's only like three people online that, probably don't actually read comic books that want Peter and MJ back together, right? Like that's what Nick Lowe would have you believe.
It's just the incel chudge. We all know that.
Oh yeah. It's just them. They're just shoving it to the chest. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody that supported Represent number 5. Please give it a look. The standard issue is only $8.
Oh yeah,
So
so go down to that.
that's pretty inexpensive, all things considered, for the most part. So give that a look. The collector's edition, which is foil and embossed, is 20. That's actually still cheaper than a lot of foil and embossed covers that I would get at my local comic shop. Especially if it's a virgin variant, right? Sometimes those will double that.
Oh my god.
So check that out. I also want to quickly shout out Lethal Leopard. That's on Kickstarter from our internal at the Rippaverse
Ooh,
lead illustrator, Igor Teixeira. He did all the interior art for this book. The writer is Paul Thayer.
Paul Thayer. Okay,
He,
good. I was making sure
he
I was grabbing the right one.
yeah, yeah. He's an indie comic creator who's a phenomenal promoter. In fact, I don't think there's a single indie comics promoter, like someone who knows how to promote their book better than he does. Like his pitch sounds like he just has it down to a freaking science and it's incredible. The book looks fun.
That cover's
Igor did a
cool.
cover. Kanan did a cover. His Kanan's cover is
Is this one right?
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Like, and it's Kanan White. Kanan White's one of the best that's ever done it. So it's hard to go wrong with a piece from him. But the book looks fun. I dived into it just from what little knowledge I had on the project. I would encourage you guys to give it a look. And if it interests you, please give it some support because there's some fantastic creatives attached to the
Great. Yeah.
project. And it's meant to be fun. He wound up like pairing up and collabing with Enzo Amore, who those of you who watch WWE will know who he is.
Yep.
And so it looks like a really fun project. Check it out. Outside of that, guys, thank you for supporting all the currently ongoing projects we have going on in the Rippaverse, whether it's Alpha Core 2, which shut down last night, Great War of Separation 3. The Great War of Separation is written by Chuck Dixon, so it's very near and dear to my heart. And it's just a fantastic story. We've got The Tension Crew
Yeah.
written by the Saskas, which is an all ages book. So that book is us trying to reach out to completely new demographic, right? That goes back to like trying to increase your audience and bringing in fresh readers, young readers. And guys, I would encourage you if you were a fan of comics in the past or you've been curious about comics at any point, right now is a great time, whether it's via the indie space, whether it's Rippaverse or Iconic Comics. So, like, whether it's Common America, Black
Yeah.
Ops, Soul Finder, any of those guys, or whether it's Project Neosis from Paul Thayer, whether it's Phenomenova
Yeah,
from
I was gonna get Vaughn.
my boy Von Coleman,
Jeff Stroud from
or
Chad
Death Stroud
Larson.
from Chad, whether it's Fiendish from
Yeah,
Rini, like
Fiendish.
it, like there's so many fantastic indie projects out there. But even on top of that, there's a lot of good stuff finally coming out
It's
of
coming
the
back, guys.
mainstream as well. And so I want I want to encourage people against the idea of tribalism. I want to encourage people just to enjoy what they enjoy. If my hope would be for books like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, The Flash, all of those to be at their absolute peak again, like the best we've seen them in decades. And people still, despite the fact that those books are amazing again,
They
and
really
they're
are,
buying
guys.
those, I want people to still be looking forward to their favorite indies because that will speak more to the quality of the indies and the
Yeah.
quality of the indie space. If people are still happy and willing to and looking forward to indie books who have only been around for at least a handful of years at most, in most cases, and still looking forward to these characters that are icons that have been around for almost a century. Like, that's the true
Yeah.
test. Like, anybody can say, "Oh, well, I beat the Patriots when, like, their entire, first line was all out sick or they had all busted a knee or
Right.
something like that," right? But, like, if we're talking, like, mid-2000s Patriots and, like, you have Tom Brady and the whole freaking offensive line and special teams
You
and
have
everybody's at
everybody
their
going
best,
there. Yep.
right? Like, and you're still able to hang and people are still there with you. That speaks more to your quality. It's easy to beat an opponent that's already broken. It's
Really is.
more it's a lot more impressive to be able to, like, stand next to a Titan when they're standing at their tallest.
I don't think I can say anything more to that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, I'm gonna take part of that speech, and it's gonna be in the intro to Foil Variant from here on out.
That's
Like
fine.
that's how incredible. Like, yeah, you nailed it. Uh, but yeah, I think that's all I have for you tonight, guys. Go check out Ripazine number 5. It is pinned in the chat right now. Go get it. Go get the foil. Go get all of it. Go support Andrew. Go support your indies. As for us, guys, thanks for hanging out on Bounding into Comics for our first live AMA sort of session. We're figuring this out as we go, but I appreciate everybody who stopped by the chat, from Susano to Cider to Masta to Dylan was here for a little bit, to
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what was his name? Yep, there we go.
My favorite Hufflepuff.
Stop the Madness was here. So we saw all you guys. I also see everybody who is watching and hasn't commenting. You're just as equally, appreciated for stopping by. We couldn't do this without you. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving, obviously. I'm still planning on having a Mav streams in the afternoon. So if you guys are bored or need a distraction from the family shenanigans, come hang out with me. I honestly, I think we're gonna play the Fortnite event tomorrow because that starts right at that time.
Oh,
So
they have an event? Oh, okay.
it's like Ready Player One. Like, it's literally
Oh, okay.
every crossover they've seen so far is coming to fight the Demon King, and then new map or whatever. So
Oh, okay.
might as well see it as it plays. But yeah, guys, I guess. Oh, before we get out of here, I will also make one more promo. If you guys liked what you saw here tonight, not just Blue Shift or my pretty face, but the way the discussions we had, the chemistry the two of us had, I highly encourage you to, where the hell is my browser? Go over to YouTube. Go to youtube.com/foil variant. Every Thursday night, Andrew and I talk comic books. We're intellectually honest. We talk about the new releases, what they're doing right, what they're doing bad, all that fun stuff. I obviously think it's a fun show, but I encourage you guys to come find out as well. But I think with that, everybody, yeah, that's all we have here for tonight for Bounding into Comics. I want to thank Andrew for stopping by, offering us your time. It's incredible to be able to pick your brain, especially as a new comic book creator. That's a pretty cool thing to hear.
It's a privilege and a blessing and a humbling experience, and I'm very gracious and grateful to everybody that's supported it so far.
Awesome. And hopefully we get more support. And I've got no outro yet, guys. I'm still in the middle of refreshing everything. So until then, I'll just say, take it easy.